Hey, this is Professor Game, where we interview successful practitioners of games, gamification, and game thinking to help us multiply engagement and loyalty. I'm Rob Alvarez. I'm a consultant, I'm a coach, and I'm the founder here at Professor Game. And I'm also a professor of gamification and game-inspired solutions at IE University, IE Business School, EFMD, EBS University, and other places around the world. And before we dive into the interview, if you're struggling with engagement in your business and are looking to find out how to make your users stay with you, you will find our free community full of resources quite useful. You can find it for free in the links below in the description. Engagers, welcome to another episode of the Professor Game podcast. Today we have with us Dhiraj. I hope I pronounced that decently. But Dhiraj, we need to know, are you prepared to engage?
Yeah, I'm ready to engage.
Let's do this. Dhiraj Jujare, is that a good pronunciation or a decent one at least?
It's a decent one. It's called Jujare because we pronounce our E's as A generally. So
I never know where do people pronounce them and not, so I do. I do just the first one that comes to mind.
But at least you try to pronounce it as it is, because a lot of people pronounce it as Suarez as well. Like the player Luis Suarez. I'm very confused by that as well. The people from other countries. Yeah, you can continue.
Interesting. So Dhiraj Jujare is a trailblazing entrepreneur and the CEO of Warpverse X, which is a cutting-edge gaming platform revolutionizing the digital gaming ecosystem. He's known for his innovative mindset and deep passion for technology. He has positioned Warpverse as a central hub for gamers, developers, content creators, and brands alike. His leadership emphasizing fostering vibrant communities, leveraging advanced tools for game development, and driving forward-thinking solutions in esports and digital marketplaces. Dhiraj, is there anything that we should know that we have not mentioned in that intro?
No, it's pretty much it, because I have come from the gaming background myself, and moving forward, I wanted to do something that was, because I saw a lot of gaming industry was fragmented, so I wanted to build something that was that had a structure so everybody can come and have that place that they want in the community, and that's how Warpverse X was born.
Amazing. So, Dhiraj, if we were to follow you around for a day, a week, I don't know, how would that look like? What are the kinds of things that you're doing regularly or semi-regularly, whatever that looks like?
So basically every day starts with waking up and working out, because I have to work out on my days. It's a bit messier. I didn't used to work out before, but since I started, it's been more fresh. It's been more focused. Then after that, I start up my PC, then do the daily logging of what the stuff I have to do. Then after that, whatever the development of is there, I start working on that. Then we have the team meetings and everything. We discuss everything that has to be done and that has to be done throughout the day. After that, once till evening, all of this goes. And after the evening, if there's a soccer match, we go and watch a soccer match. If there is not, we sometimes play soccer. Yeah, that's how the whole day goes. And in the weekends, we go outside, have some fun every weekend, and that's the whole week right now. Once
sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
good stuff going on.
Yeah, even in being Madrid, Real Madrid is a big club, and I have a lot of friends who are Real Madrid fans as well as Barcelona fans, and they keep having the argument. And as I'm an English club fan, so we get stuck between those arguments every day. So.
Well, Manchester United, has its history and all of that, but nowadays, it's hard to argue with Real Madrid being the best club right now. It's difficult. I'm kidding. Everybody has their opinions. They're all fine and welcome. I am a Real Madrid fan. Yes, I am. Funny thing, before arriving to Spain, I actually didn't watch much football, soccer.
Yeah.
But my wife sort of followed Real Madrid for a while. She was a fan, but then I became more of a fan than she was. We actually had football TV at home for a while until the pandemic came in, and it was a lot of fun. I kind of miss having my football nights.
But it's good that you say football, because a lot of what happens is due to the American audiences, more people start saying it like soccer, and I say football, but I thought like most of your audiences is maybe American, so I said
Aware
soccer.
of the fact that they call it soccer, so that's why I say football, and every now and then I throw in a soccer so that Americans don't get confused.
Yeah,
But it is what it is.
yeah,
I mean, calling American football for them is also weird. So it's what it is.
yeah.
Dhiraj,
Like,
we always like. Huh?
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
you can continue. No, I was just saying like we discussed before, the dialects and the languages get changed
Yes,
every year and this. Yeah,
it
you
is.
you
It
were
is.
asking something.
So Dhiraj, we always like to introduce our guests and get the best out of them and showcase many of the amazing things you guys have done. However, we also like to bring you to the ground level as well, so that our audience can also realize that all of you are actually real people. Like
Yeah.
you are, you have faults, you have difficulty, you're learning just like the rest of us and of the engagers, right? So we like to kick off with this story, right? A story where you actually tell us of a time things did not go well, especially if it's in the gaming world, game development, game design, gamification, I don't know, wherever it is you want to lead us. We want to be there with you at the ground level, feel that difficulty, that pain, and I don't know what lessons you took or how did you get out of that fail moment or first attempt at learning. Again, we want to live that story with you for a second.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing that I think would come to my brain is when I started going and learning about gaming stuff in the college, because in India we didn't have that many resources before. Like right now we have everything. We have the colleges for particular sets of things. But when I started out, like in 2015, I didn't know there were many gaming colleges and stuff, and I just got into like game art. I was doing zebras and stuff, and I was trying to learn what exactly her artwork is done, like what exactly we need to do to like get it into the game, because the models that zebras does couldn't be directly integrated into the game. So I was figuring that out, and so by that research, once I started researching, I started getting more to the game design aspect of it as well as the game development aspect of it, because when I started out, I just thought that. Yeah, you just create the 3D models and you place them, and the things start working by themselves. Then I got more into the depth while researching it. Then I found a college over here which is called Trimedu, and I started attending it. Moved out of home for that. Then things started working out. Then after completing my college, I tried doing an internship at Ubisoft for some time, but that didn't work out well for me because there was a lot of crunch time. And I wanted to be into more of a development side of the games, but they put me into testing, and I didn't want to be a tester. I wanted to like design games and make games. And for 7 years, I was like making games. I was like figuring out problems regarding gamifications and like game design stuff. Then I thought, why shouldn't we go for something like, because there are a lot of the main thing that I noticed was there is a lot of fragmentation that has been happening in the gaming world, because if you want to connect to the community, like gaming community, what do? They go to Discord. But for playing games, they go to Steam or Epic Games or maybe GOG or whatever the preferred platforms is. So I thought, like, why can't we bring all this stuff together and start making something that is that is more integrated for like the gamers as well as game developers as well as the gaming content creators, because right now in India, the gaming is becoming really big. Even our Prime Minister has been like meeting with the gaming content creators and doing a lot of stuff with them. So I thought it's a good time to start the platform, because even like in the revenue aspect of the things, there is a demand for it. As well as I thought, like, if we can make something that is very like we can create an ecosystem that is very helpful for all the people who are in same audience basis, that would be great. So that's how Warpverse X was also born. And plus, as you said, gaming story. We like I started from nothing, and right now I'm like mostly getting integrated in the whole ecosystem building kind of thing.
That sounds amazing. Thanks for sharing that story. I mean, it's almost from rags to riches in a way, like not necessarily in the financial aspect, but in the way that you went from something you didn't really want to do, all the way to actually building your own Warpverse X. And Dhiraj, thanks for sharing that. I mean, there's plenty of lessons there. I think the audience can decide which ones to take and see some of the aspects that you went through. Actually, how about you go for something that you're proud of, that you want to share, like a project that you did, a client you worked with, I don't know, whatever it is you want to go for. It doesn't have to be, like, if you don't want to share any names, if it has to do with a company, that's fine. But especially, again, we want to live the experience with you. We want to hear how that went and maybe some of the success factors that you had.
I wouldn't go for a client-based story. I want to go for a bit of personal story. It was in the time of college as well. Me and my roommate, we just started working on the game. It was a basic, endless, the obstacle solving kind of game. And we just thought, like, let's make it, let's have a design, let's make an art, let's do designs, and let's publish, and let's see what we can do. And and we published the game. The game has been taken down now. It was like 7 years ago. But when we published it, we didn't expect to get any downloads on it. Like, we expected, like, mostly maybe we'll get like 100, maybe 200 without any marketing. But the acceptable part was we got like 7,000 in a month, like, without any marketing or anything. That was like surprising. So that that motivated us more, and we started working together. We started building other kind of things. But after some time, the split happened. He went his way. He is into development, still working. But I played. But that was a great lesson. Like, once you, like, the people even who are watching or listening to this, I would like to suggest you one thing, that even if you don't know anything about it, just start exploring. Just start going on. Just start implementing. Just start applying. Once you start to apply, you will realize some mistakes. You realize some plus points. Then you will realize your strengths, and you will start designing and developing accordingly. And that's how basically our gaming world works. We test out some stuff, then we make, and then whatever the end product happens. Sometimes it's great, sometimes not. It's not. It's in the hand of the audience. But making is the most important thing.
And that's key, right? One thing that you mentioned there, you do, and then it's about the audience and how to integrate that sort of, I don't want to even say opinion, because it doesn't have much to do with the opinion. It's how the audience actually feels and how they react to whatever it is you create, and how to handle it, I think, is something that is critical. And the sooner, of course, you're able to get that understanding, the better things are essentially going to go through.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you.
So Dhiraj, that sounds fantastic, and thanks for sharing that story as well. Is there, in your experience, and you've been working in gaming in many different capacities to this point, is there something that you would say, well, if you do this, or if you think about things this way, you will have at least a better chance of having success in your project than if you don't? So a best practice, no silver bullets, of course, but is there something that you think has been critical to your success or to past successes that you observed in projects you've actually been working at?
So I think the basic aspect that everybody should follow is having a basic documentation, so everybody on the team is on the same page. Because a lot of times what happens is, like, we don't have any of basic documentation, like having a design documentation or a development documentation. And that causes a lot of miscommunications and inefficiency in the development of the project itself. Because, let me give you an example. I was working on a project, I won't mention the name, but it was a web-based game. And the thing was that they approached me for the art aspect of it. Like, they wanted to have 3D weapons, like 3 icons and stuff. But later down the line, because of no documentation and inefficiency in the communications, the blockchain part, I was even given the blockchain part as well as the FX part as well. Because I used to do like a bit of a blockchain as well. So I even had him with that. What happened due to that was, like, let's say if that project was to complete in like 3 or 4 months, it took like 1.5 years just to get to a certain level in which it can be like at least marketed to users itself. So that's what I would say. The documentation is the key, and plus second thing, most important thing is setting the communication lines, because even if you're developing it alone, it's and then maybe you won't need it, but documentation helps everything, because you can just go back and see where your ideas were, because number of iterations you have, Sometimes some old things also work better, so you can go back to those.
So what you're talking there about communication, and people think of documentation, especially when it's a team-based effort. And then they think like, well, I'm a solo developer. I'm an indie developer. I do everything myself. Why would I need documentation? I can tell you what I think about that, but what would be your message after saying this? Is it still important?
Yeah, I'll just give the example of the game I launched with my partner. We had like 3 iterations of that game. First was like a really cartoonically graphic version, like basically if you see in like Angry Birds kind of shit. Then we developed the art style and made it more 3D by like the last stage when we published it. But there was a middle stage which it had like a mostly glowing and like a trippy kind of vibe. And people liked that version a lot as well. And if we had that documented and if we had that like version saved on our PC, like made the versions of that, then we would even have that to publish. And like when we like after games got boomed, then we went and like started to market it. And that time we were even showing that version because we had the build fit, but we didn't have the whole like the programs and codes and everything because we had changed that thing in the project. So keeping the backup, keeping the documentation also helps because you can go back and if something's work there, you can implement it in the future versions as well.
Amazing. And Dhiraj, with all this experience, I'm guessing that when you create something new, you have some form of, I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Some people say, no, I don't. But you have maybe a process, a series of steps. If you were to face a new project right now, how would you do it? Where would your mind go? What are the things that you would get into? And where does documentation fit in there, of course?
Yeah. So the first thing that I would do, let's say if we get a game project, let's say a FPS project. So what is the first thing I do is I'll like have a meeting, have the whole recordings of the things, like what the client wants. From that, what I got, I create a whole documentation based on the designing, based on the art, based on the development. So there will be basically at least these three sections will be finalized. And in the documentation, what can also help you is identify your core audience, because what generally happens, I would say that games don't get that kind of success because they don't know what exactly the target audience is. Because if you are publishing, or even if you are making a game, and if you know your base core audience or your target audience, it gets much easier to develop the game accordingly, as well as have the design aspects and the things implemented very easily. And other than that, when you create a design documents, you can on paper you can also experiment with the mechanics that are going to work in the game, or they will not work in the game. Because see, sometimes what happens is that we had a capture flag kind of board game. This was like an assignment we had, and I put too many mechanics while designing in the games, which were not essential. But what happened was the game got way too complicated to play, and so we had to provide a very big booklet to people just to understand the game before setting it out. And I think like the process of enjoying any game or like starting out any game is having the tutorial in the game itself, which is very helpful for some. And yeah, the gamification process also gets much easier.
Absolutely. Love that. So Dhiraj, we start asking you for recommendations now. Is there somebody, after answering these questions and seeing, the vibe of the podcast, is there somebody you would be curious to listen to answering these questions? A future guest for the Professor Game podcast?
Yeah, there are some people. There are some people who are from development side. There are some people who are from who are literally doing the game news. I would suggest you can talk to Siddharth. GamePut is his tag name, and he will be really good in telling you aspect of the industry. So basically, which I said, the targeting of the core audience, which was really great thing. Because he notices that trend really easily, because I have had like a couple of meetings with him, as well as I even did my podcast with him. So that guy, other than that, if somebody I would like to see would be John Carmack from Bethesda, but that is like a huge leap because I had listened to him once on Joe Rogan, and the way he explained the design and the mechanics of Doom when he created it, it was very inspiring, and I was in awe like how he did it and like how his approach was. And mostly, I think my approach also was greatly inspired by him, as well as I think you must know about Jonathan Doe as well, right? The guy who developed Witness. Yeah, so that person I would recommend that because his design, the way he thinks design, I haven't seen anybody do it in that way. It's really
Amazing.
unique and different.
And how about a book? Like those sound like fantastic guests. Is there a book that you recommend and say to the audience, look, you should have this one in your library and of course read it? Sometimes we have too many books that are unread.
See, this book I wouldn't just in the gaming aspect of it, but just in life, like mostly your day-to-day life. I would suggest it's basically a rendition of already a book by E.G. Yoshizawa, but I read the comic version of it, which is Vagabond by Takahiko Inoue, which is a really great book. Plus, even if somebody is a game artist or something and they want to do different style of art, they can get inspired by the art style as well, because it's a really still and realistic art style. Plus as well, the story of Musashi is always inspiring for me, and the way they have executed it in the Vagabond manga, it's phenomenal. It's very exceptional. So that's what I would recommend.
Fantastic. I have definitely not read that one, so perhaps I'll add it to my list. Dhiraj, what would you say is your specialty? That thing that you do great when we talk about game creation, game design, game development. What is your sweet spot? That superpower?
I would say the visuals, the arts and everything. If you like, I would recommend all the listeners to go and visit our website. The unique thing about our website is the visuals itself. It's not like how the things are placed or what the stuff like what applications it will have, but at least people will get that idea. Like, see, whoever is making this website or whoever is like branding this company, they are more focused on the visual aspects of it. And see, in gaming, I think somewhat the visual aspect also matters, because some great looking games can also work. If you have maybe played Abzu or something, it's a very great looking game. Maybe in design aspect, I would have done more other things, but the visual aspect of it is really great, and I think it's my superpower when it comes to games, visuals.
Visuals can be very, very important, for sure. Dhiraj, we get to the difficult question now. What would you say is your favorite game?
That's a really hard question. If you're saying all time, like, even if you give me a chance and I'll play it, it will be Pokemon. Any kind of Pokemon, like the Pokemon, the red, blue, and green versions. Red, blue, and yellow.
The oldie.
Yeah, the oldies. Because I basically, my introduction to gaming was due to those games, first of all. I knew about anime when it came to India, but the games, my uncle got a PC to us, and he showed us how to install an emulator and play Game Boy games on it, and that's what my introduction was gaming was, and I started gaming at really early age. I think I was around 3 or 4 years old when I started that. So that game is like it's a bit of nostalgia, as well as the like the design aspect of it. Like, I didn't used to realize when I used to play when I was young, but right now when I see the design and the mechanics of the game and how the reactions happen, that is a really fulfilling game. Even if they don't make open world, it has a lot of complication when it comes to design.
Absolutely. Well, it's sort of an early stage of open world in a way, right?
Yeah.
So Dhiraj, we have a question from the audience. We always, when we have a chance and we have a few extra minutes, we like to make these questions. And I have a question about I'm guessing this is from a music professor. It says, I would like to hear how gamification is used can be used to help students practice and learn a new musical instrument, or for seasoned musicians to motivate them to practice and make it more fun. If you hear this, what comes to your mind?
I think you wouldn't have asked this question to anybody better, because lot of my people, like I would say the friends I have are from the music industry. I play the guitar myself. I do vocals as well. So the gamification way, what I would suggest, especially in terms of sheet music, because even when I was learning that, I couldn't read sheet music. It gets too hard for me. Instead of that, I started using tabs because it was much easier to just figure out each fret to play rather than have the...
Than actually reading the music, no?
Yeah. So what I would suggest, the gamified way to do that would be having a visual cue for music sheet, and whenever the music like the student hit the right note on the guitar, the visual creates some kind of reward system for it. Like if they play a continuous piece, right, they get a certain kind of score, and if they start let's say hitting the full song or something, the reward system can be a really great gamification for the music like what you can say, music learning curve. As well as the second thing I would suggest is when it comes to production and like I go into electronics and stuff right now. If you go to the L Studio or the kind of softwares, what they do is you can publish it there, and the more views you get, you can have like the ranks get boosted. There is the leaderboard for it, so that also can be efficient for creating competition as well as having that complications inside the music system itself.
Interesting. Love that. Very, very interesting. This person did not ask for their name to be revealed, but I think I know who this question is coming from. So I'll reach out privately and tell them that you were the one to answer their question. Dhiraj, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. This is the last, a question I'm going to ask. It's actually more of a question. It's, this is your space. You can share with us where we can find you. If you have any final piece of advice, all of the things that you want to say in the next or the last couple of minutes, perhaps, that we have for the podcast. So the microphone is yours.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram. Just search for my name, Dhiraj Jujare. You will find it really easily. Second thing I would like to do is plug in my website. You can go to Warpverse X and start registering, because we are open to register. And we will have the community section and the content creation section really up soon, so you guys can even create your own gaming content and start posting it, as well as join the communities, have discussion with your fellow gamers and developers. And the one piece of advice I'd like to give to everybody is whatever happens, just start with it. Just start making. You can figure out things later, because once start making, that's a really good starting point to have your foot in the industry. Because see, nobody knows anything before they start. Once you start making, just download Unreal, download Unity. If you want to go into art, download ZBrush, and just start making things. Once you start making things, you will start understanding a bit like how the stuff works. And once everything is once you start understanding, you will get more into it, and then maybe you can have some kind of amazing idea like all of our favorite games developers have made.
Amazing. Sounds like brilliant advice. People, keep that in mind. Dhiraj, if somebody is confused about how to write your name, they can just go to our webpage, look for this episode, and they can find all of the links that you mentioned to your LinkedIn, to your Facebook, to your Instagram, to your webpage. We will definitely have all of that. Or if you just put in the search bar, you put Warpverse, I think that's going to be easier for everybody to find. Thanks again, Dhiraj, for being on the podcast today. Thanks for your insights, your experience, your knowledge, sharing all of those things. However, Dhiraj and Engagers, as you know, at least for now and for today, it is time to say that it's game over. Hey, engagers, and thank you for listening to the Professor Game podcast. And since you're interested in this world of creating motivation, engagement, loyalty using game-inspired solutions, how about you join us on our free online community at Professor Game on School? You can find the link right below in the description, but the main thing is to click there, join us. It's a platform called School. It's for free, and you'll find plenty of resources there. We'll be up to date with everything that we're doing, any opportunities that we might have for you. And of course, before you go on to your next mission, before you click continue, please remember to subscribe using your favorite podcast app and listen to the next episode of Professor Game. See you there.